Hello everyone, welcome to Target Language English. Today we're going to talk about the use of the present simple tense. We'll start with a quick mention of the present simple structure, but for a detailed explanation, be sure to check out our other video where we cover it in depth. For positive statements, we need the subject and the base form of the verb. In the third person singular, we add s or es to the base form. For example, I work, he works, she studies. For negative statements, we need do not or does not, which can be contracted to don't and doesn't. For example, I do not work or I don't work. He does not work or he doesn't work. For questions, we start with do or does, and then we add the subject followed by a base form of the verb. For example, do they work? Does he work? Let's now move on to how we actually use the present simple tense. The present simple tense is used to talk about things that happen regularly or are always true. It is the tense we use for routines, facts, and general statements. Let's take a closer look at the different ways to use this tense. We use the present simple when something is generally true or always true. For example, light travels faster than sound. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. 2 and 2 make 4. These are facts that are always true and do not change over time. They are universally accepted. The present simple tense describes situations that are more or less permanent or unchanging over time. For example, where do they live? They live in Australia. He speaks English. She is a teacher. I like flowers. I don't want a sandwich. I'm not hungry. Next, the present simple tense describes habits, routines, and repeated actions. We use it to describe actions that happen regularly. In this case, we can use expressions like every day, twice a month, every year, on Monday, on Fridays, and so on. For example, they go to the gym every day. He wakes up at 6 a.m. every morning. We can also use frequency adverbs to describe how often something happens. Some common frequency adverbs are always, usually, often, sometimes, never, and so on. For example, she always arrives on time. They usually have lunch at noon. She often visits her grandparents. Frequency adverbs are typically placed before the main verb, except when used with the verb to be, when they are placed after the verb. Compare these two sentences. He never arrives late. He is never late for work. In the first sentence, he never arrives late, the frequency adverb never is before the verb arrive. In the second sentence, the frequency adverb is after the verb to be. He is never late for work. Next, the present simple tense is used to describe scheduled events or timetables. For example, the train leaves at 5 p.m. School starts at 8. The meeting begins at noon. When does the movie start? Finally, the narrative present describes events in literature, plays, films, or historical accounts as though they are unfolding in the present. For example, the play portrays the struggles of a young artist. The novel explores the themes of friendship and loyalty. At the end of the book, the detective solves the case. So to recap, we talked about the use of the present simple tense to describe general truths and facts, states and conditions, habits, routines and repeated actions, timetables and scheduled events, and we also talked about the narrative present. Now let's practice. Complete the following sentences with the correct form of the verb in brackets using the present simple tense. Pay attention to whether the sentence is positive, negative, or a question. Feel free to pause the video to complete the exercise at your own pace. Once you're done, you can press play to continue and check your answers. Are you ready? Compare your answers with the completed sentences and see how you did. She reads every evening. The Earth orbits the Sun. They don't like spicy food. Do you enjoy watching movies? Anne washes her hair twice a week. He goes to school every day. Does he know the answer? Let's do one more exercise. This is a story about Sarah's daily routines and activities. Complete the sentences with the correct form of the verb in brackets using the present simple tense. Feel free to pause the video to complete the exercise at your own pace. Let's check. Compare your answers with the completed exercise. Every morning, Sarah wakes up at 6 a.m. She stretches and gets out of bed. She takes a shower, brushes her teeth, and gets dressed for work. Sarah likes coffee, and she always drinks a cup of coffee in the morning. She usually eats cereal for breakfast. At 7 a.m., she leaves her apartment and walks to the bus stop. The bus comes at 7:15, and Sarah sits by the window. She enjoys the morning ride and watches the city. At the office, she says hello to her colleagues and starts working. She checks her emails, goes to meetings, and works on her projects. During lunch, she goes to a cafe with her friend Lisa. They talk about their day and enjoy their lunch. In the evening, Sarah goes home. She cooks dinner and relaxes. She often reads a book or watches TV. Before bed, she plans for the next day and sets her alarm for 6 a.m. Sarah goes to sleep happy and ready for a new day. To recap, the present simple tense helps us talk about habits, general truths, and fixed arrangements. We also use it in narration. For a detailed explanation of the structure, check out our previous video. And that's it for today's lesson on the use of the present simple tense. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more grammar tips. See you next time!